Blog Talk Radio.
Get ready. It's time for News for the Soul. Life-changing talk radio from the uplifting to the unexplained. Join us as we celebrate 11 years of empowerment broadcasts, becoming the #1 life-changing talk radio show in the world, according to Google, AOL, MSN, YouTube, and more, and home to the largest, totally free transformational audio library in the world. All found at newsforthesoul.com. And now, here's your host and the founder of News for the Soul, the one they're calling the Oprah of the Internet, Nicole Whitney.
Hi everybody, we're live. I'm Nicole and this is News for the Soul, life-changing talk radio from the uplifting to the unexplained, with a new live broadcast and a new, brand new guest to introduce you to today. Fraeda Scholz is with me from Emo Wellbeing Energetics, and we're going to be talking about powerful clearing techniques, including the one we talked about with Bruce Lipton over the years, many years, being Psychic K, the mysterious and elusive Psychic K. Also, we're going to cover some interesting topics, including Motherless Daughters Syndrome being one of those. I'm intrigued in finding out more, so stick around. We're going to get the breaks out of the way right now. Come back for the full hour with Fraeda Scholz on News for the Soul. And we're back. We're live. I'm Nicole Whitney, and this is News for the Soul, life-changing talk radio from the uplifting to the unexplained, and all free all the time. If you miss any of the show, newsforthesoul.com. Just go into the archives. It's all there, years and years and years of it. You'll be in there a while. Many of you are. And thank you for your wonderful emails this week. We've had such lovely, lovely feedback. Muchly appreciated. And I'm hoping you're going to enjoy this show today because we have somebody new to introduce you to. Fraeda Scholz of Emo Wellbeing. That's emo as in emotional, E-M-O, well-being, energetics. And we've got it all linked up online, emowell-being.com. And if that's too much typing, just go to newsforthesoul.com. Right there. There you go. She's a healing practitioner in Eugene, Oregon. She uses top energy psychology methods, including emotional freedom technique, of course, which we've talked about on the show before, EFT, Psych K, which we've heard about for years with our discussions with Dr. Bruce Lipton, who, by the way, is coming back in 2 days from right now, live on News for the Soul. And also, well, she does a lot of work in the area of motherless daughters, self-esteem issues, life transitions, phobias, and much, much more, and has healed many of her own issues. You know how that works. Many of our guests, they're on their own path and happen to help many others, thousands and thousands of others on their way as they find their way through on their journey. So I'm excited about starting right there. Let's get to know Fraeda and find out what's going on. I'm just trying to get our switchboard's acting a little weird. I think you're live now. Fraeda, are you there?
Hello? Do you hear me?
Hi. Hi, Fraeda. Welcome to News for the Soul. How are you?
Hi. Thanks for having me on.
It's a pleasure. I've been looking forward to talking to you ever since I found out about your areas of specialty, and we have lots to cover, obviously, lots to talk about. I'm curious as to where your story begins and how you got involved at all, even knowing about energetic and emotional well-being, let alone being a practitioner of it.
Yeah, well, I really didn't start very far at the edges of that. I really started just with my own sort of desperation in needing to heal, and it kind of I really made the choice to change, to find my healing when I was about 26, and I had depression on and off through my life. And I was a peace activist at the time, and I was really frustrated and overwhelmed with the state of the world. And I was just, my own self-esteem issues, combined with looking out into the world and seeing war and seeing, what the future looked like and being so young, and I was pretty overwhelmed. And Yeah, and so I kind of came to a point where I knew there was a knowing that a change was going to come for me. Like, okay, I can't continue this way. And it's interesting that Bruce Lipton's going to be on the show because he's one of the main inspirations for me to even try all this alternative stuff. I mean, it seems totally normal to me now and like crazy that I wouldn't have just tried it immediately when I just heard a whiff of it. But it actually took me a little while. And so, you know, so I was.
That's
I was
quite a shift of concept, though, isn't it? You know, from how we're raised as far as what we're told the world is all about.
Oh, yeah. And my parents, I learned a lot about the importance of your mind and your thinking and that kind of stuff just in general. And so for many years, probably since high school, I had been trying to force myself to change by observing my own mind and by observing life. And I thought if I could observe it enough, I could force myself to be happy. I could force myself to feel good about myself. And yeah, well, and that's kind of some of the belief system, like being your own therapist. And so I was able to manage, to some degree, I was able to manage my feelings of, you know, if I went to a group and I constantly felt like I didn't fit in. Well, I observed the world enough so that I felt like, okay, I can pretend. I'm going to make myself act like I feel like I belong, even though I didn't feel that way. And so, you know, I had this, it's like my mind was this room with all these piles and all these broken glass and different things, and I learned how to kind of walk around this and shimmy past that and just sort of figure out how to kind of be okay. And when I was about 26, like I was saying, first of all, I was fed up with that. And the overwhelmingness of the need for peace and change in the world, and like, okay, I want to be a part of that. And I knew that I had to be a part of that, or I just wanted to get off the planet. Not like I didn't want to die, I wanted to live, but I couldn't stand it anymore. And I remember going to see my grandmother, who's about 80 years old, and she was telling me about something that happened to her when she was 10 years old, and she was still angry about it. And I thought, that could be me. This could be decades of the same old stuff. It's like Groundhog Day internally. You know, you're just reliving this emotional stuff, you know, these tapes over and over again. And so when all these realizations were sort of happening and I was feeling depressed, a friend gave me, and I asked this friend for a CD about some political thing, and he said, oh, by the way, I heard this great interview by Dr. Bruce Lipton, a cellular biologist, that talks about the unconscious and how we come to have all these programs in the unconscious and all these things. And I said, oh, that sounds interesting. And I listened to it, and it was, looking back a few months, I realized that it was sort of the universe bringing me that before I really asked for it, before I really said, okay, I'm ready for the healing. It's like Bruce Lipton was right there. So it was one of those things where I was resisting it more than I needed to, because I didn't really think that it was possible. I thought it would be years of therapy or something. But then I thought I can't stand that either. So initially I started meditating and things, which was wonderful. It was helpful. But this EFT, this Psych-K, these energy psychology methods that he talks about in the talk that I listened to, just kept kind of gnawing at my mind, like, what if it is that simple? Because he had said about his own experience that once he started learning these things, that his life changed on a dime, and that the things that he had been struggling with for so many years, it was very quick. And I thought, what if that's really possible? But I, kind of didn't want to dare to hope, and it was kind of a struggle. And once I started doing it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is real. I mean, I can't believe that I waited so long. But, in working with people, that's how we all are, changing the paradigm and allowing a possibility for something that big in, it's scary if it doesn't work, and so you don't try it.
So you're talking about changing every belief system and foundational paradigm that we've been conditioned into, right?
It's
so
true.
It's understandable that it's a shift. But at the same time, part of us knows that, something, the way it's been all portrayed is crap.
Yeah.
And there's more,
Yeah.
because obviously we know instinctively, you know? I think
Yeah,
that's
and one of the biggest issues is who will I be if I change? I mean, that was huge.